Pretty chamber I've been given my tasty thistle. Doesn't look quite as sturdy as dwarven masonry, but it'll do. Anything that's so many miles away from the presence of my father will do, in fact. King Thelor, rat bastard. He's treated his only daughter like dirt his whole life. Was it my fault my mother died giving birth to me? Was it my fault I was born without boys' bits between my legs? Ah, to hell with him. I'm here now, a blushing bride, about to start her life anew. You got any rye around here? Fat old Falstaff swears by his beer, but I like a shot of something stronger now and again. Or maybe you, my dragon, can be my strong shot this jolly day. And the decoration here could use some work. Where are the gemstones? The statues carved from deep, hard rock? An elf might feel at home here as it is, and that's saying something. Come to visit your wee wife, have you, my sugar plum? Good, for I have a wee favour to ask of you. My father, the king, curse his crown, is going to raise taxes again in that misbegotten part of Rivellon under his rule. Of course, you know the cur's as liked as a flatulent jester, even by his own nobles. So they beg me to beg you to countermand his tax rise. 'Twould humiliate him publicly and weaken his position as king. So they say. Fair enough, I reply. Music to my ears, really. So how about it? Bah, I should have known you'd be too noble and chivalrous and all that rot. Mind you, them's qualities I do admire in a man. Except when they get in my way. You could stand to be a bit more devious, my dear. There ain't a king that's not a conniving bastard, if he plans to last, that is. If there be gods, may they undo creation to ensure that the world never sees the likes of that rat of my father again. He knew his nobles were plotting against him because of the tax rise, and knew that they'd enlist my help now that we've been locked in wedlock. All of this just to spite me. He's been spouting more venom than a lizard's sewing circle. Aida can't even convince her own husband to join her cause, they say. The sheets must be cold up in the Raven. Preposterous! Have they not seen me? As if any set of sheets could be cold with a red-hot little looker like me in between the satin buggers. But I'll have my revenge yet. I know my old man keeps a ledger that details all his sordid operations. A little black book that keeps track of everyone he blackmails. Get it, and we're golden. Attaboy! Now we're cooking! With all the dirt we'll find in there, we can squeeze him tighter than my boobs are in this bloody blouse. Tell your spies they can pretty much waltz into the old beggar's offices after breakfast. He's usually on his second cask of ale by then, and he'll think they're there to lead away the pink elephants. Well, butter my buns if this isn't better than my birthday. This ledger is a bloody gold mine. You should see the names in here. He has all the greats of the land eaten out of his palm because of their sordid little secrets. My word, there's stuff in here so saucy it'd make the Queen of Whores blush like a maiden on her wedding night. Now all we have to do is make this doozy public. Sure, it'll cause a bit of an uproar, but think of all the power that will slip from that old sod's grasp. Oh, I know where they'll fall all right. They'll come a-plummeting from the sky like little meteors of sweet revenge aimed straight for his head. And with a bit of luck, they'll crack his skull like I crack nuts in my hands. I used to bet the toughs down the tavern that I could crack a couple of walnuts in my bare hand. They'd think I was full of it. But then, crack! I'd pulverise them. I always made them cringe for some reason. Got my booze that trick, but didn't get me boys. By Grom, the giant's codpiece! What an uproar that ledger's caused! Unseen in history! Those whose name has been disgraced have fled the realm, and all the others are lapping up every last sordid detail with the gusto of a dwarf bent backwards in a vat of ale. And you've yet to hear the best part. All those scandalized dukes and barons have sworn revenge. Rumours of assassination abound thicker than an inbred ogre. I'll be rid of my accursed father once and for all. Darn and blast it! Can't you let one little assassination slide? You've brought him to the brink of ruin, and now that we can give him that last tiny push, you crawl back like a hound kicked by its master. Fine, do as you must, but you can find another bed tonight. Saving lives gives me a headache. I bet you'll come to realise pretty quickly that saving the old bugger is going to be more trouble than it's worth. Your call, though. Now you've gone and done it, my pussy cakes. I told you this would happen. That bleeding heart of yours had to swoop in and plead on my father's behalf, didn't it? Well, your troops have saved the bastard's life, and now reprisals have begun. Those that could have fled the country, but anyone still in his realm, an airtime opponent of his, now faces torture and execution. Dear friends of mine are being held in his dungeons as we speak, trapped in a nightmare of blood, piss and mutilation. And why? Because you did not allow nature to take its course. Assassination should have been that bastard's lot. In a land ruled by a stingy, worm-like, sad old lech, everybody's a bloody would-be assassin. Oh, it's no use talk to you about this. You're a king too and would do the same. I'll just have to sit idly by as people I've known since they were but pups are being cut, cleaved and cooked. There now, I'm peckish. 'Tis a tough business to lead a life among kings. How much am I admired by so many? How envied? If only they knew every so often 'tis an existence corrupt as Falstaff's morals, putrid as Yorick's odour. An unexpected turn of events, my sugar bun. My father requested to see me, and we had a walk in the garden of his palace, and as it turns out, he is grateful. Yes, grateful that we were there at his hour of need. He realises that without the presence of your troops, he'd be dead by now. Just as I was about to say I wished he were in fact being picked at by carrion birds, right then and there, he asked for my forgiveness. I didn't know what to say. I was overcome. I accepted his apologies. He promised his reign of cruelty would stop, and that together we would run a better realm, devoid of bitterness. To think that's all it took. Friends of mine tortured to death so that old goat would open his eyes and realise that we, or so he thinks, stood by and willingly let him restore his grip on power. Oh, my blood still boils when I think of it. But if true reconciliation might loom on the horizon, I should reach for it. I owe it to every dwarf in the land to mellow his wretched heart and undo his tyranny step by step. I really never thought it would come to this, my love bug. Perhaps there was wisdom in your counsel after all. Wouldn't that be a turn for the better, eh? I'll have to learn to let go of my deep-rooted hate for the old man. Never have I faced a task more daunting. This is gonna take time. Time and liquor. Now you've gone and done it, my pussy cakes. I told you this would happen. That bleeding heart of yours had to swoop in and plead on my father's behalf, didn't it? Well, your troops have saved the bastard's life, and now reprisals have begun. Those that could have fled the country, but anyone still in his realm, an airtime opponent of his, now faces torture and execution. Dear friends of mine are being held in his dungeons as we speak, trapped in a nightmare of blood, piss and mutilation. And why? Because you did not allow nature to take its course. Assassination should have been that bastard's lot. Hard to make a decrepit old worm look weaker, but I'll certainly give it a bigger shot than an imp's king cannon. Now for a spot of intrigue and heroics. To the rescue I fly! My comrades I will drag from his clutches, and so I'll leave him destitute. It will be an act of rebellion, paltry as Trinculo's brain, but I can do no more. It's over, my sweetkins. Every last bond between me and my father has been broken, severed with a cleaver, and I am well past caring. Those whom I hold dear and were kept as torture puppets in his dungeons, I have dragged from those horrid pits in one piece, if it were still possible. So enraged was he by my betrayal, he disinherited and renounced me. No longer his daughter. Fool! Life and liberty, such are the blessings his so-called punishment leaves me with. A dark chapter I close. Finally I can let go of all-consuming hate. He is as indifferent to me as the rain upon the rocks. I am now at peace with myself. And you, my lovely love muffin. With all this ugly business, I've hardly had time to get to know my dragon of a husband. How about we make up for lost times, eh? Come here, you. Fills my heart with joy when I speak to my fellow dwarfs, you know. Many of them think me a heroine for saving my friends from the dungeons. I suppose in a way I am. Can't you award me a medal for bravery or something the likes? Make it official? Sometimes I wonder, my little tummy tickler, why on earth you do it all. War, ambition. We could fly off, you and I, to some remote island where no one can find us. Leave behind throne and crown, the both of us. Just a fancy, I suppose, but sometimes... Oh, never mind. Nothing quite like freedom, is there, my slice of apple pie? Never had I imagined it would be so liberating to be cast aside and recognise that a dream, rather than a disillusion, was realised.